So Springtrap is coming out, I think, in like a couple weeks now, and I haven't really given an opinion of the PTB version of him yet. I was going to do this around the time when the PTB actually dropped, but I decided to not do that because my opinions kept on conflicting. I kept going back and forth between saying, the killer looks pretty ass, like I don't really think this killer's going to be good, and then it was like, this killer actually seems pretty damn good. So first off, let's talk about the design. I think they just nailed it. Like, the design is really, really cool. They made him look very Springtrappy, and I like it. I don't know what more is there to say. They made William Afton more like prevalent in the suit this time, like compared to Five Nights at Freddy's 3, where you didn't really get to see him very much in the suit. You can actually really see him in the suit in this game. So really like that. So let's talk about the power. I think Springtrap's power is going to be very, very interesting. Like the axe throwing is pretty much Huntress, but it's just heavier. It's just a heavier hatchet. He has a fire axe that he can throw, and he lodges it in the survivor. The survivor can pull out the hatchet, but Springtrap starts out at 110% speed, pretty much just the exact same as Huntress. But when he throws the hatchet, he ends up turning into 115, which is like Trapper, for example. There are add-ons that this killer has that make that hatchet, he pretty much becomes like high A tier, almost S tier in my opinion. There are 2 add-ons, and I do not know the names of them, so don't even try. I don't even know. But it's like, I think it's Foxy's thing. I think that's it. Where it's like, if you miss your hatchet, there's a area of effect around it. If you step inside of that, if you just walk into it, you get 10% haste. So does the survivor, but you're the killer. You move at 115, they move at 100. If you get 10% and they get 10%, you are schmoovin'. There's also an add-on where if you hit the survivor, you end up getting 20% haste. So does the survivor, though. The survivor also gets 20% haste, and that lasts for the entirety of you having the hatchet inside of them. So he has 2 add-ons that completely give him haste. He could almost have haste for the entire game. Throw on some haste perks, and you pretty much become unmind gameable. And that's kind of worrying to me, but at the same time, dude, balance just doesn't even matter to behavior at this point, because Nurse and Blight are still in the game the same exact way pretty much that they have been for years. Nothing's really changed. Those characters are broken as fuck, and they aren't doing anything about it, so they clearly don't care about balance very much, so who cares, right? But I think Springtrap is going to be very fun to play. I don't think he's going to be very fun to go against. That's the problem. They keep the add-ons the exact same way. I think, there's going to be a problem. But as of right now, who knows? They might change the haste by like 5% or something like that. That's what I think they should do, is bump it down by like 5% per add-on. So if you miss, it goes from 10 to 5. And if you hit, it goes from 20 to 15. Maybe even bump it from 15 to 10. Like, seriously, I feel like that is insane amount of haste just to hit a hatchet. Yeah, of course it gives the survivor it, but they're moving at 120, you're moving at 135. That's a pretty big difference, So let's talk about the doors. I think the doors are very, very good. Of course, they're map pressure, so it's map control. You get to go anywhere you want. You go through a door, and you get to choose out of like the 8 or 9. Is it 10? I don't even know how many doors. I think it's 8 though. There's 8 doors or how many doors on the map, and you get to choose whichever one you go to, and they're all spread across the map, so you get to go almost anywhere on the map just by going through a door. However, the survivors can actually go through the door as well. So this is the first time that they have ever done this, where a survivor can completely interact with a killer power and use it just like the killer does. So I think that's very, very nice. I love that. There's also a camera system, so the survivors can get on the cameras and look around. They can see all the stuff around. They can see Springtrap. And I think if they detect him for long enough in the camera, there is an aura shown to all survivors that, where he is. I think that's really, really cool. I love that aspect. Just Five Nights at Freddy's aspect put into DBD. Really love it. But other than that, is there anything much else to say? I know there's some add-ons including the door. Like, for example, you can throw your fire axe through the door and it goes out the other. I don't know. It's just very inconsistent. I don't know why anyone would ever use that add-on. It just isn't really going to work. It's funny though. If you do manage to get it to work, that is a funny add-on to have. You can also grab survivors out of the door. So if you see a survivor go through a door, it's kind of like with Dredge, where if you see like a survivor get into a locker, locker, you can grab them out of the locker by teleporting to it. The same thing with Springtrap. Springtrap can go through the door, and if he sees a survivor go through a door and he goes through the door, or goes through another door that's like adjacent to that door, pretty much like choosing to go there, he can grab them. And that is really cool. Really cool. Pretty much, if you haven't noticed already, this killer is really cool. There's a lot of great things about this killer. The only thing that is concerning to me is the haste add-ons. That is very concerning to me. I don't know if that should stay the way it is. It's very fun for the killer. Like you get to speed around the map. But is it fun for the survivor to even go against, though? I can see how that could be a problem, not being able to mind game someone because they're moving so fast. It's the same reason why people don't really like Clown very much. Clown isn't liked because he can slow you down, but he gets faster. But imagine that, but on crack, right? Imagine that, but you don't even almost have a chance to mind game anything. So that's Springtrap. So I can kind of see why people are a little upset with the add-ons. I'm also a little skeptical on it, but hopefully, they'll bump it down about like 5%, maybe at least 5% per add-on. But other than that, that's really all I can think of for right now. I think this killer is going to be around A tier, in my opinion. With the haste add-ons, almost S tier. This killer can really speed around the map and make loops unmind gameable. He has map pressure. He's a projectile killer, so he's good at camping. What's he really missing? There's not really much he's missing. He's also undetectable. Forgot to mention that. He's a stealth killer also. So he's a stealth killer, projectile killer, and he has map pressure. Got a lot of stuff going for him.